Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Madden podcast. I'm Max, your host, and I'm here with the one and only, the amazing, the extraordinary Roxanne. Hi, Roxy, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good.
Yes. So, we were just saying, what are we going to talk about today? And we said, well, we have no idea, and let's get into it. Let's trust the moment. Let's trust that we're gonna start talking, and the topics, what we're going to talk about, will just come along with us.
Come along, come along.
It's gonna appear evident in the moment. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the Madden God podcast once again. For those of you tuned in constantly, we appreciate you listening to our joy, our passion, our ideas. And today we were going to talk about nothing. I didn't have anything pop up. But consciousness is itself what's so cool about consciousness, what's so cool about being alive. When you gain a concept, well, there's other concepts you have to lose in order to gain this concept, I would have to say, as a preference. But to gain a concept of creation is your literal playground, laboratory, way to investigate life. And so whether you talk about the weather or you talk about, nothing that has the value of anything that the ego would find valuable as purpose, then you don't have an opinion about what you talk about and you don't talk about, because it's all exploration of consciousness. And that's a broader point of view of reality. And, it takes diligent work to change the perception of the self. I did a video yesterday called Pressure, and the way it shapes us. And if you are humble enough, you have to have the ingredients of humility. If you're humble enough to recognize that your behaviors, your truths, your adamant truths, the way you think things ought to be, the ones that give you emotional power and even reactive power in the idea of victimization or obligation, responsibility, or being, I don't want to disturb anyone, being more of softer, whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you recognize it's an emotional belief system, then if you can recognize that, you can see that vibrational emotion as a truth, then you can start to understand that's what literally shapes your reality, creates. See, I said it in the fashion or in the idea, example of pressure, because we're born with pressures to perform, because somewhere along the way, first grade, second grade, I don't know where it happened, but all of a sudden I was afraid I wasn't enough. I had to please. I had to count. I had to matter, and that is done through a subjective truth of an action that seeks validation for such authority or approval, and I don't know, those kind of ideas of acceptance, right? Through authority, through someone that you deem valuable as a relationship, like a parent or a teacher or a guide or something of this nature. So you can start to see that you are shaped, better said, you're shaped by your truth, but your reality is shaped by the expressions of your truth. Remember, everyone has a will, a W-I-L-L. I'm willing to do that. My will made it do that. Some people call it your purpose or your drive, or but a will doesn't have a reason surrounding it. Will doesn't have a purpose. Will is always enabled, happening, currently, nonstop. It's what you're constantly creating, and your truth are going through that beaming it out to the creation. Okay, that belief system is your will, because that's your truth. So your will is putting in, creating that experience and those attractions and those realities. So when you really start to see that your behaviors is what creates your reality, it's like you're bitching about someone else. All you're doing is creating a reality bitching about someone else, and you want someone else to fix it, or you want someone else to agree with you. That's going back to shaping your reality. You're experiencing that because of your lack of self and your reliability of others agreeing with you about something that would cause you pain. You look to your friends or your people on your side, and then you mount a thing against that, and whatever salvation you want to fix it. And that creates your world. See, those willing truths create your reality. And I think that's good insight to see how I'm sitting in my living room and I look around at my reality and it matches me. It is a reality that fits me. And what comes to me in my reality in attraction, I can give a rat's fuck about it, because all it is unconditional and more for me. But what comes is always a vibrational match. So 10 years of understanding this, doing the work, channeling it, coming up with these ideas that I have so I can pass them along in the ideas, and of course explore and be them for myself, and then offer them to humanity, has given me a reality to where whatever is attracted isn't a consciousness of separation any further, because I don't have that point of view, right? I don't have the point of view. So I think, whatever we end up talking about, Max, and my listeners out there, whatever we end up working on, it's a conscious of exploration. But we want things so bad. And believe me, I was the same way, of course, to mean something, to purpose it so you can have an identity. Feel when you accomplish something. Feel when you fail. Feel when you're successful. I need you to feel that worthiness, to experience that and realize that was chosen, but not in the idea of, I'm going to choose to have a bad day. Not that shit. Chosen in your behavioral truths that create those interpreted realities, the way you perceive the world. So it's really good work. It's really good work.
I love it, what you said, because I realized that the moment I gain awareness of the collective, I started having a change of perspective. Even though I absolutely know I'm having my own experience and I am not conditioned by whatsoever else, right? But at the same moment, I started feeling the presence or the beingness of the collective as not a, let's say, direct co-creator, but as our entity, our global entity that is recipient of my experience, so that I'm aware that when I'm creating a video, when I'm talking about something or experience something particular, and even if I know I'm in opposition to what I perceive to be the mainstream of what humans are doing, well, I know that I'm opposing, but I'm not opposing in the sense I'm against. I'm simply having a posture, saying, well, this is how I perceive things. So I have that perception. I'm having my personal experience, but that personal experience then is offered to the collective. And so that's how we are, and we share it, whether we know it or not. I may be aware of it, but at the same moment, also aware that I cannot let that influence what I experience, what I put out, because it's not part, right? It's not that way. If I start doing things in function of the collective, then I'm going to get lost into that.
Well, then you're no longer an individual. See, a collective isn't made up of a collective. A collective is made up of individuals that create the collective. So the individual has to be the expression of this individual. See, collective happens because there's one and all. It's already built in. And whether it's in the macro idea of all that is, or the micro idea of a human collective, is irrelevant. The collective is always happening. So that realization is like, I can't let the collective influence me. And you have a social, we as humans have a social bombardment of collective truths through the idea of whatever is popular that makes its way onto the global consciousness of awareness, like, applications, Facebook, TikTok,
dances.
What?
Dances, TikTok. You have to do the dance.
Oh, dances, yeah. So in those larger consciousness ideas, you can get inspiration off of those things, but there's also a relationship of doing them for approval, or to fit in, or to be like something. I was on Facebook for years, and it no longer resonates. So I got off of Facebook, and it's not a loss. See, it's just a choice. But at the time I said, I got to be on Facebook because Facebook is where everything's at. And I can connect, I can do this. And it was a big effort to be on Facebook. And then I realized, well, I don't need Facebook. And it wasn't a passion for me anymore. It wasn't a truth of me to explore. So I left Facebook, and now I live this life. See, consciousness is never void of life. You're always going to have life. And if you are truthful to the self, then your life will be truthful to a reflection of your truth. Not immediately. So let's say you're being an asshole and you like to wrong people, lie to them, trick them, or play pranks on people. You're going to get a prankish life, but it'll get to a point to where you need to expand that prank self, and so it'll change. The representation will change. So let's say you're tired of being an asshole and pranking people, and you want to change yourself because you realize. So it's not going to happen overnight. Then people are going to act any certain way. You don't have expectations. You just start representing what you are. And let the changes be evident in your behavior, your speech, your mannerisms. The I am now, the actions. They will see and feel and experience a vibration of a changed person. So it doesn't matter what you were, it's what you are. So you have to be aware of what you are. Whatever you are, you're creating, and it's only happening to you. You can bullshit yourself and say, yeah, it's them or them, consequences and cause and effect and all that diarrhea of exploration. That's just reasoning with humanity when, with creation, a reality, and when reality is absolutely 100% unreasonable. It doesn't have a fucking purpose. It is. Yeah. That's why whenever you look away from something, you look over there. Oh my God, there's still a world. It is. Reality is. Oh, let's go over here. Let me see if I can find no reality. Nope. Wherever the fuck you are, you're living.
And what you are is always good enough. It's always perfect for the experience you're having in that moment. And I've seen lately exchanging with different people and in certain contexts, and the feeling I took from there is this. When confronted with a new situation or even learning something that is perceived as being new, like learning how to channel, the first that when coming in is, I don't know if I'm able to do it, I'm trying, this kind of posture is a posture of, right, I'm not good enough, but I'm trying, but probably I'm gonna fail, but I'm still trying. Well, right, see what the experience brings. But the thing is that then there is the realization that actually I'm good enough for what I am doing if I accept the experience for what it is, and with allowing to myself to learn, to get into it, because what we perceive as learning, most of us, it's not really learning. We already know all of that. Is that we have forgotten. So there's the relearn or remembering it. And it goes through this process of learning or of entering into it and trying and then starting doing things. And I've seen, right, this first approach of fear of am I going to fail? I don't want to fail, right? Those postures that humans have learned to adopt every time they're confronted to anything perceived as new. And let's be honest, it's something that we learn at school.
Yeah, we cover these. Yes.
Yeah, we become it because
Yes.
that's the main thing that we learn at school, is that we're not good enough, because no matter what we do at school, it will never be enough.
Never
There
enough.
will always be someone better, or there will always be
or even if you do well.
enough.
Yeah, even if you do well, you still got to make yourself better.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you're really good, but now let's really get better. There's constant chasing of betterment. And if you're putting that out, welcome to your fucking life.
Yeah. And so we apply that everywhere after that, right? Because that's our what we learn more than mathematics, history, or anything else. That is what sticks with us. Because mathematics, you forget 90%, 95% of what you're doing in class, you forget that. History, whatever, you forget quite everything. But that you're not enough, that you don't forget. That sticks with you all over your life. Until then, if you choose it, well, you come to the moment where you can explore a different way of perceiving yourself. And so it's so fascinating. It's so amazing to allow yourself to discover you and to realize that actually, I'm not a failure. I'm good. And whatever I decide to explore, the unknown, even if I'm scared, even if I may value or perceive maybe I'm gonna fail, even if that is the initial way of entering into the experience. When you discover the unknown, then you discover, oh, I can do this. I'm able to do this.
And the fun thing is you're never not doing it. You're never not doing it. You're always doing. So it's what you're doing as an expressional truth that you have to look at, because that's what's creating your reality.
Mm-hmm. With the results that are out of whatever your imagination can sell you, because you discover that you are limitless. And this is something that I'm now applying to myself as I'm perceiving myself navigating this nows that I have, that I'm experiencing right now, where I have a lot of unknowns, things that are showing up as a potential, and then I'm telling myself, well, whatever I may sell myself in my mind as an outcome or as the potential, what is awaiting there, and the how am I going to get there? what I realize is that it doesn't matter. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Why do you know why I don't need to know, or I don't need to? Because whatever I may sell myself, the truth is that the way it is realized, it is created, I have no idea. Because if that's what I choose to experience, my reality will align. It will be a match. Even if in this now, the conditions are not reunited, they're not there, right? Doesn't matter. Because if that's my next now, everything will align with that. Everything. I don't know. I am going to buy a $1 million property. Well, I don't have $1 million right now, but if that's my next now, the $1 million will be there. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up, and I'm using $1 million because it's a lot of money. No, it isn't. If that's your now, if that's what you attract and create in the now, the money will be there. How? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
gonna be there.
Doesn't matter. Exactly. Well, you got to look at that. You look at that as a passion, not a purpose. You look at that as an exploration. But you can't, for me, I don't put things in purposes. I don't try to open $1 million company or get $1 million to invest. I have to get the idea attracted. The idea of me writing the Angelics was an attracted idea. I wasn't going to write the Angelics book. I got an idea that gave me the first step that turned into write the Angelics, and I did. So that was the idea of attraction, allowing me to create, pursue, investigate, passionize myself in that exploration of writing. So it can be in any avenue. See, we think creation has a limitation. That's only in your mind. So let's say $1 million is a lot of money. Well, it's $10 a lot of money. If $10 isn't a lot of money, then you can manifest $10. You can manifest 50. Maybe 100 would be nice, but not really. And I'm not talking about out of thin air. You'll just say, I need $10 and let $10 come to you. But you're not needing it for something of a relationship of lack. That's the key. You can't fucking do it out of lack. When the idea comes, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. The money always shows up. Or better said, is the reality always shows up. Whether it's partly money, partly investors, partly a building, partly this, everything came into place when I'm doing my book. I had this come into my reality, this come in, these tools that helped me write this book, these tools that were attracted, that gave me means to prepare my book for publication and how to get it out there and publish it. All of that stuff came. So wherever you put your energy, if you want to be the greatest ghost hunter in the world, well, then put your energy into ghost hunting, but not for purposes. If you just can't help it, you got to find your passion. Most people are fucking miserable at their goddamn job because it's a goddamn job. And that's all I can, and see, that's a dialogue. This is what I get. This is all I can. Then you're fighting for your truth. You're fighting for that. You have to take the journey, and it does not happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a step by step as it attracts to you. Yeah. And you make those changes when they show up. And if you have courage to choose to change, you will get fucking change. 100%. Go ahead.
And so going back to what you have said, right? Have you trusted? Have you allowed law of attraction? Have you allowed it to work? Have you experienced it?
Given it time to work.
Given it time to work, yes. And because, well, it takes also ability to observe and to understand, oh, that's what is happening. But it's not simply because I have people saying, oh, law of attraction, law of attraction, and I say, yeah, right, but do you understand law of attraction? I don't think you really. But for what you are, where you are at, you understand perfectly well. However, that is still a view of law of attraction that is limited. But law of attraction works without limits. It works because it works. It's you observe it happening because you have situations where you could say it's a coincidence. No, it's not a coincidence. It's an attraction. And I had a client tell me, oh, this is luck. I said, that's not luck, honey. That's not luck. Stop talking about luck. You are diminishing yourself. You are giving you are saying that a external force is making it happen, giving you the luck. No, it's you. It's law of attraction working. That's what you have to see. Stop talking about luck. No one has ever had luck. It's happening because of
luck
you.
Is an explanation of reality. It's explaining what it is. It's defining what reality does. Oh, I had good luck. No.
Take ownership. It's you, absolutely you. And when you start taking that ownership and to see, then you will be also see, well, oh, I'm attracting this. This is me. It's not coming to me because I've prayed or I've given money to whatever or whatever. Right? Those things of karma or whatever. No, it's happening because you are attracting it. It's you. And when you start seeing it, it's not that you can control it, but you will trust it more and more. You'll trust yourself.
Yeah, for God's sakes, don't control.
Yeah.
Because that's limiting yourself.
And we limit enough. We are, right? We keep limiting enough. So free yourself of any of those perceptions. It's you, and let it be. Let it happen. Because then another question is, do you think that you are here to fuck up with you, to just throw yourself and over and have bad experiences? Not really. And when you give yourself this perception, this way of being, this awareness, this that then, well, you open up, you're free. And then the more you're free, the more you will perceive, the more law of attraction works, the more you get into it. And again, it's not day one that it has to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect.
Well, it is perfect, literally. But you're not going to have the experience of being perfect because you're evolving your conditioning.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're going to feel vibrational resistance to reality because you're birthed in separation, coveting identities, belief systems of limitation. So they are your will, and you have to observe and change them as they come up. But the attraction of change will be evident as long as you're being the truth of yourself, not the truth of the ego, the truth of the self, which is a discernment skill you will learn along the way. That's why we talk so much about recognition and brutal honesty with yourself, because you got to own your shit when you see it, because it's your belief systems. And it's not your fault you have them. It's not your fault that you have a bad time. How can anyone have a bad time? Well, because what do? They interpret the reality as a bad time because its structure of the reality has been interpreted by the singularity as bad. But it's truly unconditional, so you notice your own conditionings. And that's the work that we do. That's the work that we do.
And that's all we know, right? That's when we interpret reality, we interpret as what we know. And that's all we know. And
that's all we know.
as you start opening yourself up, letting in new ideas, new perspective, new everything, then what you were interpreting as negative, as bad experience, may change with a new perspective into something much less bad, much less of those things. You have a completely new way to relate to it, to interpret it. And that is also increasing, giving you more perspective, so less limitation. Because belief systems are limiting by definition. They give a way of relating to reality or that is limited. That is because you are just saying things in a certain way, whereas there are many other ways to interpret it, to experience it. But when you don't know anything else, that's the only thing that you can get. When you open up, when you change your perspective, then you'll see that, oh, that's the way I was interpreting this. But now I can interpret it this way, or in that way, or even in that other way. And all these ways are perfectly perfect, each one of them. But you see that you have more choices than the only one you had before. Because that's, again, the only thing that you knew before. And as you were saying, is not that when you are limited, you are doing it wrong. When you are limited, you are expressing what you know in that moment. So even in that moment where you are limited, you are still expressing the best version of you possible. And that is why you are always enough and always doing the best that you can do in that moment. But if you put that in time and you are relating to that saying, yeah, right, this, but back then was like this, but now it's like this, but I see that it was wrong back then. No, it was not wrong. Don't judge in time. Because if you judge in time, you will always find fault in you that you were not doing it right. You were doing the best you could. Value that. Do not discount that. Because then you are not just discounting the experience, you are discounting yourself. You are saying that you are not enough, but you are not saying that you were not enough. You're saying that you are not enough now. Not then.
Yes.
And true. It's that we're in time and we tend to do that again, right?
Yeah, because time is part of the experience. We have the ability to look at a self through a memory of a past action. And sometimes people feel guilty for what they did. But at the time, is like you said, it's your best self. What you see is like, I will never act like that again. I get it. That's an old self, a true for me then, but not true for me now. See, people try to hold other people in contempt. I've seen people do things like, well, you did this and you did this, carrying on what they did, trying to solicit guilt or obligation or something. And that's for you to feel and say, well, that was me then, but that's not me now. So if you want to work with that person, get yourself a time machine. But this is who I am now. So if you don't want to play with me now, have a Coke and a smile and get the fuck out. So you always got to realize you are evolving, enlightening the separated experience, embracing the suffering and the joy and everything in between them, and investigating reality. But when you look back and it says, man, I made a great choice. I would never make that choice again because I've evolved from that self. I am a new self, knowing reality and knowing the inner truth. So I always tell my students, guys, reality is there for you to wake up. Fucking use it in any way you can. Don't hesitate on being yourself so you can get your own feedback of reflection so you can understand yourself and behavioral aspects, like in your actions. Oh, maybe I don't want to do that. Or said, that's who I am. Like, I had to be okay with cussing. I had to be okay with yelling. I don't yell and I cuss like a fucking sailor. But people are saying, oh, Roxanne, the spiritual world doesn't use negative words. They don't cuss. You shouldn't yell so much. And I was like, fuck you. That's me, like you said earlier, Max, conforming to the majority of humanity as a consciousness or a collective. I'm not going to do that. And whoever likes me, great. Whoever doesn't, great. It doesn't matter because I'm not depending on being accepted externally. I have grown wholly into me. And since I am whole, I don't have any absence of self, therefore having no lack. So be okay with your awesomeness. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Be okay with that. And, it's not easy. At first.
No, it's not easy.
At first. And even when you evolve, you find resistance, you find always a moment where you may not be the 100% okay with whatever. But then that is also an experience for you to explore further, even deeper inside of you, and be then even more okay with you, even more in love with you, because yes, that's where we go. That's the work. It's the self-discovery, and when you discover yourself, when you fell in love with you, and it's.
But make sure you don't fall in love with you emotionally.
No.
Be worthy of your own self. See, when you're vibrating your own worth, you're putting that into the will of the now, which creates and tracks your realities. So you got to get better at falling in love with you, not emotionally, but be your best friend, be your own advocate, be your own cheerleader section. It's okay how this is the master class of evolution, of evolving species. It is the toughest fucking class in all of creation. And creation is a big motherfucking place. It's endless. So you have to see that idea of you exploring is, well, here, I'll give you a perfect example. People go, there's girlfriends that I have that would say, Roxy, why do I keep attracting these men? Well, I say, you're not attracting the men. You're attracting the change. You keep choosing these people that treat you like shit because that's your best version of yourself. The only person you can get is someone that treats you like shit. So you attract people that have that countenance towards the woman and wants to be that. Stop seeking men and fall in love with you. Once you love yourself wholly, you attract a holy man. If you are loving yourself half-assed, you attract a half-assed man. So that's how I attracted my Tommy Jean. I stopped for a few years to stop dating. I started diving into Roxanne, finding out my truth. Not the fucking dream of the perfect man and the perfect kids and the perfect marriage. That's all fucking lack in the moment to create. You gotta find you, be okay with you, and you'll attract a person that's okay with themselves. Can you imagine two people living together that don't give a fuck how they look with each other, how they're trying to change for each other? They absolutely express the love for each other unconditionally. That's the love that we seek. But you gotta love yourself first. Gotta be okay with you. And there's a lot of shit I had to take down about me. I wasn't a bad child. I didn't do bad things. I was guilty of just being born half the time. I was afraid of life. I didn't act. I hated getting in trouble and blah, blah, blah. But there were like regretful things I've done because of my behavioral actions. But I look at those regrets and I was like, that got me to me. And I'm here. I can't be selfish when I'm the only one in my own universe. Highest act of love is to love yourself. Loving the one is loving the all, blah, blah, blah. So you've got to really look at this in your heart and say, you know what? I deserve to know who the fuck I am and start choosing it. Like when you go out on a first date, right? I've been on a couple first dates. So it seems that we try to impress each other. And then we tell things about ourselves, but that are not exactly what we are. Or we agree with something that isn't agreeable because it'll work it out. Because all of a sudden you're looking at this as a possibility. I mean, if you get together and it's a one night stand and you bang the guy, and you're like, okay, thanks for the bang, bye. And that's cool. We get that. But if you're, it starts to feel good and then you can't change yourself. That is so important because that person you created in that moment to get this relationship you wanted it, and you changed to fit the relationship, both of you are going to hate each other in a matter of years because none of you are being the truth of yourself.
Yeah. And when you see people saying, oh, you've been married 20 years or something, and what is the secret for longevity? Oh, compromise. No, compromising is not the secret. It's
not the secret.
No,
that's bullshit.
It's the unconditional that is
Bingo.
the secret. Is the allowing the self, the experience, and accepting unconditionally the experience of the other person. It's that exchange of unconditional. And now, when you allow the unconditional, when you are unconditionally committed to the relationship, then what happens? Conditions happen. We are human beings. But when conditions happen, the moment you are unconditional at the beginning, whatever the conditions may be, it doesn't affect the relationship because the relationship is built unconditional. What does it mean? It means that if you have an argument about whatever, you will not end up in divorce. You will have the experience of the argument, and once the argument is done, it's forgotten.
You understand it.
You understand it, right? You'll transmute it. You let go of it. You will not stay during 1 week not speaking to each other because, oh my goodness, we had an argument and now we have to.
You don't carry that shit on, exactly. You don't carry that shit on.
Everything else is what is getting into trying to change the other. Why would you try to change them?
Means you're not okay with yourself.
Yeah.
When you're trying to change another, you're not okay with yourself. Let another person be what they are. If it ends up in divorce, then so be it. If you end up breaking up, you will have a better life because you're here for you. That's the thing, this whole Bible thing is you have to serve others. No, you don't. There are no others. There are no others. They're all reflections of you, the Creator. So you have to service the self. You become the light of change, the authentic self. That represents what we can possibly be in the land of lost gods, in the land of separation. Just look at our leaderships of the world. That's what we want representing. That's what we want representing. Fighting for limitations, fighting against a person. We don't want to value change the others. We want to represent what we are. Let vibration take over the world of natural self that you are, and you will change worlds constantly. And remember, whatever is going on out there isn't going on out there unless you focus on it, and that's when it's going on there. So you forget about the outside world and start working on the inside world. Your little tiny bubble that's only usually about 30 feet across, 30 feet round. And you're usually in your house. That's it. Keep it small. Keep it small.
Absolutely. For instance, I've heard, right, that I was told by my husband, he said, they keep saying now that prices are increasing for food and everything. And I said, well, okay, they're going to do that. I'm not engaging into it. I'm not preoccupied. I'm not going to explore it, to compare. Why? Because I don't need to. Because I don't need to engage it. I don't need to go into it because I know that whatever we need in the moment will be provided in the moment. So
we'll have the money to pay for whatever the fuck it is. Eggs in America have risen 70%. I don't give a fuck. I still buy eggs because in the moment I have abundance and I like eggs.
Yes.
I cook a lot and eggs is a fucking standard in my kitchen. I'm not going to bitch about the price. What am I going to do? I can bitch and then I feel bitchy and then I get back to, I need to buy eggs.
Yeah, because you keep buying them.
I keep buying the eggs. So you can see all those things, distractions, are just focuses of choice. And you get to experience that if you like. You don't have to.
No, also because then, right, let's be honest, we have options. If you find, oh, my eggs in that shop, oh, they're too expensive, well, you have other options. An option will show up to go somewhere else and have something cheaper, right? That it doesn't matter. The option will be there if you need it or not, whatever. Solutions are always presented in the moment.
Always.
But if you keep yourself into that perspective, if you engage into it, if you get fear and keep just that alive all the time, then yeah, you're fully engaged into it. Then you'll have that experience of not enough money,
you get that
not being able to pay, right? You get that. But again, it's not wrong. You're not doing
it's not wrong. It's choice.
Choice, yeah.
Choice. But we bring awareness. Enlighteners bring awareness.
Exactly.
Light, way showers, light bearers, whatever you want to call. The enlighteners are not enlightening the external. We're enlightening our internal kingdom. That representation in co-creation offers enlightenment for anyone who chooses to pick it up and investigate it.
Yeah.
And we like investigating.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. We're like, oh, yes.
All right, we're here. I mean, we're here. So we experience, right? We do. So sometimes we get maybe mixed up in something that then we. Oh, I mean, lately that I was experiencing my head, right? I was whirling around about something and bitching and all of that and pretending, oh, that's not my ego, and no, it's not nothing like that. I'm that is okay. That's totally my ego. Okay, that's totally that. Now, what do I do? Well, I choose to recognize it, to accept, and then to choose differently.
See, the fascinating thing about this ascension stuff that I've discovered, one of the wonderful things about it, is you don't know it's your ego until you're ready to know it's your ego. And then when you know it's your ego, that's when you have to have the humility to accept that's your truth. You're accepting the truth of yourself in the moment. That's me creating that relationship.
Yeah.
And that's when the transcendence can start to occur because you've surrendered to the idea that's mine. I'm going to own that. But you don't fix it. You don't change it. See, that mastery right there is being aware in the moment to see, oh my God, it is me. I had an epiphany this morning. I was like, I see my relationship. I wasn't seeing the depths of the relationship until this morning. I can't get it before. It can't hurry along. There's no shortcut. It's an evolution of self, and it happens in the moment. When it happens, rejoice in your own evolution of self, the own enlightenment. Wow, it's working. I'm seeing more of my own limitations. Let me change that now because I am aware of it.
And I have the choice.
Oh, yeah.
I'm creating the choice for myself. I'm creating the opportunity to perceive my limitations so that then I open up to different choices.
Yeah.
But I didn't know I had those choices until those choices were presented to me by the fact that I recognized my limitations. Without the recognition of your limitations, you cannot open up to other choices. Because up until that moment, you thought that that was your only choice.
Only choice. Bingo. But you get different choices. You will get different choices.
Yeah. And
but you have to see your choices in the moment, and you have to make different choices. Once you make different choices, you get different choices. Your vibration changes, you get different memories, you get different insights.
Mm-hmm. And up until that moment, absolutely, you don't see it. But as Rox said, is that it's not your vibration. You're not vibration. You're not there. It's not a match for you yet.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter because you're not a failure, because that's another judgment of self. It's a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah. Self-discovery. No one else can do it for you. You have to do it.
No one else can do it. Light bearers offer tools to that. All of my work is to say, here's what I found, and it works. And the reflection of my students that have been doing this work for years, not, it's actually shortened time because we've discovered better ideas of representing things. But, I've seen countless of my students live completely different lives, brand new lives beyond what they've ever imagined they can have. But they had to do the work it's me. And then realize the whole time that they're working, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, they all of a sudden realize, well, it's working. I'm doing it. I don't have to wait for the end of it. It's an ongoing journey of exploration. And then you slip out of time and you're just living in the now. It's fascinating. It's fantastic, truly.
Yeah. And it works.
Of course. I couldn't be doing this for 10 years, attracting new students, if it didn't work.
Yeah.
Your life is working right now. Whatever your truth is, that's why it works. So you can't look back 10 years. Go ahead and look back 10 years. That's why your life is like it was, because of your truth. It works. If you don't change, look at the past 10 years and now put that in the forward for 10 years. That's going to be your life because it works. You have to change your relationship.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, absolutely. When I do that, I look back 10 years and when then I'm saying, well, if I take the evolution I had in the last 10 years and apply that in the next 10 years, where I keep evolving without starting from the same where it doesn't matter. But then that evolution, is interesting. I don't know where I will be in 10 years, but what I can see is that I'll keep evolving. So
of course you will. You'll keep evolving. You'll keep getting new perceptions, new ideas, new ways to explore your human expression. And when you're ready to go beyond humanity, it'll show up in whatever way that is. When you're done, you're done. If you're here, you're not done.
Yeah. But I mean, the evolution. The discovery and we don't know where that leads, right?
The unknown. That's where it leads.
Yeah, we don't know. Right now, we only can have ideas, conjectures, opinions, projections, perspectives, all of that. And in 10 years, it's going to be completely different. Or more than different, it's going to be an evolution.
Going to be evolved.
Will evolve what we are perceiving right now. and it has been anything but fascinating and incredibly rewarding to do this.
And it's rewarding in a way that's not tangible.
Yeah.
It's rewarding in a way of internal awareness, feeling, isness returning, worthiness returning. That's the priceless shit. You can't put a number on that.
No, and just to come to the end is that you realize, come the moment where you realize that situations, experiences that will have put yourself to the brink of suicide before, now it's just over in very quickly. You are passing through it in very quickly, and it doesn't affect you as it used to, because you evolve.
Yes.
Change.
Yes.
And that happens. And that is what the self-discovery and the work that we do brings.
Yeah, you got a whole kingdom
ability.
inside of your fucking head. Go find out what's in there. You are consciousness, and you have access to all of consciousness. But the first thing you're going to run into is your limitations. We got to get through those first. Go ahead, Max. What were you going to say?
Yeah, no. So I think that we're going to bring this to
an end.
To the end.
Yeah, it looks like it's time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go make a snack.
Yeah.
Afternoon soup, something yummy.
Yes. So Roxy, where can we find you?
Find me at odysseyofascension.com or Odyssey, and as well as Odyssey of Ascension on YouTube. And what else? I have a book on Amazon. If you go to my website, it's on the front page. You scroll down, you'll see my Amazon link to the Angelics. The big book covers there, you'll see it. And yeah, I think that's about it. Max, where can they find you?
breakfastwithmax.com, the website, and Breakfast with Max for YouTube. And so thank you for joining in, and it's always a pleasure to connect with you, to have you joining us.
Thanks all for joining.
And thank you, Roxy.
Thank you, Max. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.